Down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Buy or sell. Tua has made his last start for the Dolphins. Feels like Sam went easy on this one.
If I could be that crazy guy, was it Jim Cramer? Buy. Yeah, there's no way he's playing for the Dolphins again. After he said that statement, there was no way in hell anyway. But once again, new coach, new GM. I don't know how they're going to do the cap hit. It's massive.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Rise and grind with us on the early line. It is a Monday morning, and my goodness, at least in the Northeast, it's freezing cold, but also the temperatures will increasingly hot over the weekend in the divisional round matchups here. One thing I want to make clear, it is championship week here on the network. What do I mean by that? Tonight, college football's national championship. Miami takes on Indiana. Next week in football, the AFC championship game and the NFC championship game. We're just getting started. We got 2 hours to get you ready for what you're going to expect the rest of this week throughout the weekend. I'm Donnie Rightside. He's Joe Ranieri. This is the early line right here on the SportsGrid Network, Joe. Come on now. We're ready.
Lot to go over here, yes. Donnie, on this Monday. But if it makes you feel any better, when I woke up this morning, it was 48 degrees outside. Oh. And I don't know what to do with myself. I don't even have clothes for this. It's ridiculous how cold it is.
Miami has no shot tonight in the national championship game. They're going to be completely freaked out by the weather conditions. That's just the way it's going to be. But it is a Monday. If you are excited, you should be. It's time to get caffeinated, Joe. What's that topic?
Well, Donnie, in honor of tonight's national championship game between Miami and Indiana, I wanted to talk about, well, what happened late Friday night. And it proves once again what we've been saying, that college football is officially broken. We learned that Duke quarterback Darian Menza, who just last month released a LeBron James-style The Decision video announcing he was staying at Duke, Donnie. And kudos to him, right? ACC champion, getting their quarterback to come back. Yeah, well, no. He's entering the transfer portal now on the 11th hour. And where is he likely headed? You guessed it. The University of Miami, the same team playing for a national championship tonight. You cannot make this up. Duke did everything right. They signed Menza to a multi-year deal worth a reported $4 million plus. They got the commitment. They thought they were safe. But in this new era of college football, contracts aren't real. They're just suggestions. Miami, who knows they are going to need a quarterback next season because Carson Beck is finally turning 50, kidding, sort of, reportedly came in and said, you know what? We got you. And we already know that they offered Ty Simpson's upward of $6 million before he decided to go to the NFL draft. When that failed, they took a bag of cash. They walked over to Durham and said, we'll buy out your contract and we'll pay you even more, Darian Menza. And I don't blame him because the kid made a business decision. If someone offers you a raise and a buyout for more money, you take it. But for the sport, total disaster. It tells every school like Duke and the rest of them of the world, it doesn't matter if you have a contract. If a bigger fish wants your player, they will buy him. It is the Wild West here, Donnie. There are no rules. Loyalty is dead, and the only thing that matters anymore is who has the biggest checkbook. So when you watch Miami take the field tonight and likely win a national championship, just remember, they aren't just winning on the field. They are ruthlessly buying the competition off the field as well. So enjoy the game, because the game behind the game, Donnie, it is utter chaos, and only the richest will survive.
You're right. And also, you take a look at the landscape of college football now. Why, Joe, even recruit a quarterback out of high school? Every year, Miami is showing you right now, we'll get Cam Ward. He'll be the number one pick. Carson Beck left on the scrap heap, kicked out of Georgia, knew he was a talented quarterback. Don't worry, we'll resuscitate you. You get your surgery here. You show up in the national championship game. So quarterbacks see that go, number one, I'm going to get paid a ton of money. I'm going to go to a school in a tropical condition, now with a chance to win a national championship. Every year, this could be the Miami effect. Okay, Mensa plays next year, moves on to the NFL. Miami buys out another quarterback. He goes down the Coral Gables, and away you go. This is the new slate of college football. Don't worry about high school recruiting. Worry about recruiting the kids already in college and cherry pick those if you have enough money. Great topic, Joe, to start here off. Hey, Championship Monday right here on the SportsGrid Network. Let's get to some of the hottest topics. The NFL, yeah, they played this weekend. Divisional round access. It is set. The AFC Championship game, 3 p.m. on Sunday, Broncos versus Patriots. Game number 2, Seahawks and the Rams. That game is going to be a 6:30 kickoff here. Home teams, number 1 seed in the Broncos. We'll get to those injuries in a second. Number 1 seed, Seahawks, they will be at home as well. And away we go.
Yeah, off and running. What a weekend it was, Donnie. And also, I might add, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, later, is that was some of the most disgusting football for a divisional championship that I have seen, I think, in my entire life. And I've seen a lot of football, but that was absolutely gross on Saturday and Sunday with these teams. But congrats to those who made it through to the now the AFC NFC Championships.
It's got people looking back like me of how bad my Philadelphia Eagles actually were watching those games, saying you couldn't beat any of these teams. And make no mistake about it, my Eagles weren't beating any of those teams on Saturday and Sunday, even how poorly that they actually played. Bo Nix, I couldn't believe this one, Joe. I watched that game right down to the wire. Nix gets the victim. Like, you know what? The Broncos have a legitimate chance. They're probably going to the Super Bowl. I go out for 10 minutes, come back in, and I see a news flash from Adam Schefter. Bo Nix, broken bone in his ankle, out for the rest of the year. I thought it was an Onion article. You can, if you're a Broncos fan, you're at the ultimate high heading into the AFC Championship game, and all those aspirations of a championship, poof, just evaporated.
Just unbelievably bad luck. And you know, it happened in overtime, right? Second to last play there is where it happened. Just unbelievable bad luck. And now, well, get the Jarrett Stidham jerseys out, because if you're a Broncos fan, he is your he's the only thing holding you between a nice cruise coming up or a trip to the Super Bowl in San Francisco.
It's unbelievable because, like, even if you watch the postgame, which I did, like, Bo Nix went over, dapped it up with Josh Allen. It's like, all right, away we go. And it couldn't believe that Sean Payton came to the press conference. Like, oh, by the way, my quarterback's done for the season. Tough sign here. Saturday, right before these games started, it was official. John Harbaugh, the new head coach, Joe, of the New York Giants.
Yeah, they were still going back and forth with organizational mandates and those types of things. Basically, who was going to be in charge of what. But they eventually figured it all out and locked him up. And that might be the best news for Giants fans since 2015 when Tom Coughlin left.
Aaron Rodgers going to take some time to decide his future. I don't know, maybe go away to a retreat here, take some ayahuasca, get locked in a room with no light for 3 days, and come out like the groundhog. Hey, I'm ready to play, or I'm ready to not play here.
Take as much time as you want, Aaron, because I'm sure they won't be knocking down your door asking for your services next year. So kudos, though. But I hope he goes out on his own and not hoping that somebody calls him for a job.
Reusable tweet. Kawhi Leonard sent home from a road trip because he is injured. Hello.
Shocker. I couldn't, like, just can't have nice things with Kawhi Leonard, unfortunately, anymore. Because he single-handedly over the last month and a half, 100%. The Clippers looked unstoppable, but now they're going to be very beatable again.
Grant Udinski, how about this? Some traction in Cleveland, looking to go with another offensive coordinator, just like they did with Kevin Stefanski. And where does that leave Jim Schwartz? But Udinski coming back from multiple interviews here. The young head coach, 30 years old, could be the youngest head coach in the history of the National Football League.
And he will have no say on whose DC is going to be. It will be Jim Schwartz one way or the other, because the Haslams will make sure of that.
Joe, by the way, have you been tracking this AFCON final here with Senegal being victorious? Did you see any of the clips that were coming through, which were fighting over a towel for the goalie? Help me out on this one. Did you see any of this?
Yeah, well, it was the only reason worth watching, Donnie, if we're being completely honest, was the brawl. Otherwise, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's there to hear it, does it really matter? The answer is no, unless, of course, we're brawling. That's the only way that is absolutely interesting at all.
Yeah, stealing like a towel here and how precious it was. Was it blessed by the Pope? Like, why do we have to protect this towel? Was it $1 billion towel that nobody else can get? It had some, magic relieving solution on it that when you rub your face, you're able to make saves out there? Were there diamond encrusted towels, Joe? What was this?
I'm with you, Donnie. It looked like a sweat rag to me, but hey, one man's sweat rag's another man's gold, so.
Look at that, man. We'll live on in infamy. They get the big W and got the towel for themselves. We got some Spreadlines coming up next. National Championship game, anybody? Yep.
The immediate word on the street in Philadelphia and outside is that the best guy for the job would be Brian Dable. It's like all you have to do is spend an hour of your life with me and Tyrone every day, and you're going to learn so much and be prepared for future conversations. Because I told you this back in November.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid. It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on SportsGrid.
National championships and the Miami Hurricanes. Boy, in the 1980s, 1990s, and early 2000s, synonymous with the sport of college football. Over the past 20 years, not synonymous with the sport. But tonight, back to the future we go. The Miami Hurricanes are in the national championship game. Are they playing Oklahoma? Are they going to play Nebraska? Is it Notre Dame on the other side? Is it Ohio State? No, it's Indiana. And Indiana is a heavy favorite tonight. Now, Joe, we've seen 8.5 creep back to 7.5 in a total now of 47.5. We've waited a long time for this game. It's here tonight. Give us a spread line for the national championship.
Well, it's simple, Donnie, right? I mean, we saw that this was as high as 9 last week, and we had told you that it was all public money on Indiana, that there really wasn't a ton of sharp money coming in yet. The pros weren't running to the window to back Indiana. They were sitting back and waiting to see just how far this line would go. And it got up as high as 9. Even one book had a 9.5 at one point, Donnie. But that all changed over the last 24 to 36 hours, because then we started to see the Miami money finally come in, and now we're down to 7.5. And if we're being honest, Donnie, it wouldn't shock me if this thing closes 7 before kick here tonight. So we finally starting to see the Miami backers go to the window, and that's where we're at now. And the total, pretty much the same, though, 47.5. Not a whole lot, but I do think it's correlated, right? If you like Miami, you probably like the under in this one.
Probably so. And also, as Joe pointed out, waking up in South Florida, it's going to be around 55 degrees midway through that game tonight. So we'll see how that plays into effect. And by the way, that is perfect football weather. But for Miami, just a little bit on the cool side tonight, something to keep an eye on. Let's move it over to the NFL. The AFC Championship game is set, and the NFC Championship game is set. Joe, let's start with the NFC game. The second game next Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Matthew Stafford and the Rams survived an overtime struggle against the Chicago Bears when Seattle absolutely detonated the 49ers at home. 2.5s across the board as a favorite for Seattle, and a total of 47.5. We'll preview this game all week long, Joe, but give me a Monday spread line for this Rams-Seahawks game.
Well, we were on last night in-game live covering the Rams and Bears game, and as soon as that game was over, we wanted to know exactly where that line was going to open up, and it was 1.5 initially, Donnie, for I would say about 20 minutes. And then all of a sudden, the money started rolling in. Now we're seeing 3s in some spots here. So it has been a steady stream of Seattle money coming in right now. We did see a little over money as well, which, I guess tends to make sense when you think of the Rams. You're going to think of points here, much like that game last night closed at 49.5, almost 50, in fact, and they weren't even close. But we're seeing a lot of Seattle and a lot of over money so far early this week. And when the limits open up midweek, Donnie, we'll have a better idea of where this thing is going to land.
AFC game, a lot of movement already in this one, Joe. New England's going to take on the Denver Broncos. 1 versus 2, but also a wounded number 1 team. We told you Bo Nick's going to be out for the rest of the season here with a broken bone in his ankle. Jared Stidham now the starter, and we're seeing 5.5s across the board as the road team favorite, New England Patriots, with a total of 40.5 points, Joe. This line's going to be changing all throughout the week as well. It's Stidham's time. What is a spread line for you, Patriots Broncos?
Well, this is no man's land. Like 5.5 is the book's telling you. Like, we'll wait to see whether or not the market is going to push it up closer to 7, or will it come back down, Donnie, and get a little bit closer to maybe 3.5 or 4. It was 4.5 initially once New England won that game yesterday against Houston. But of course, we already knew the Stidham news and the Bo Nick situation. So it was only a matter of time to figure out when's that Patriot money coming in. So we saw it get to 6 in 1 or 2 spots, but for the most part, 5.5. Not a ton of movement on the total here, Donnie, at all. But it's clear that it feels like the public is running to the window because of the Stidham news, backing New England. There's a lot of money on the sidelines here, waiting to figure out, how far does this get? Do we get to a touchdown? Are we going up to 6.5? Going to be interesting to see where this line moves as the week progresses.
2 of the best young quarterbacks in the league were supposed to square up in the AFC Championship game. It's a shame, as we said again. We'll preview this game all week long with the Denver Broncos now going with a backup quarterback in their biggest game. It's kind of a shame, but hey, it's just the way it is. You'll see if that backup quarterback can lead them like Nick Foles led the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl in the 2017 season. Over to the association tonight, the Boston Celtics on the road to take on the Detroit Pistons. Could be a playoff matchup here tonight. This line opened up around 3.5, still sits at most outlets between 3 and 3.5, and a total of 223.5. Celtics in Detroit for a game with the Pistons favorite. What's your spread line here for this one tonight, Joe?
Yeah, Martin Luther King Jr. Day here. So we've got early afternoon basketball all throughout the day today here in the association. This is one of the late games. And it's a good one because it's two teams at the top of the Eastern Conference that nobody thought would be here right now. And they're also red hot. Detroit's won 5 of 6. You're talking about a Celtics team that's won 7 of their last 10. So this is absolutely going to be a preview here tonight of maybe something we're going to see in the postseason for sure. Both teams very healthy, raring to go. No excuses here tonight in this one. But I think we have not seen the Celtic money hit the market yet. Wouldn't shock me if this closes underneath a bucket.
Ratings are very good here, typically for the NBA on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Most people have the day off observing the holiday here. And hopefully the NFL doesn't come in and say, you know what? Let's move back those games to Martin Luther King Day to steal it once again from the NBA and play an afternoon game. There is another afternoon game here today, Joe, and a couple of them. Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. OKC on the road, roughly a 6.5-point favorite in a total of 234.5. 2:30 start in Cleveland today, MLK Day.
Yeah, and I'm shocked with the total here, Donnie. Feels a little bit low given what we know the firepower with both these teams are. But listen, these are two teams that have been struggling here over the last month, including the Thunder coming off a loss in Miami to Miami as a double-digit favorite. Going to be interesting to see. Could it be a bounce back? Because that number should have been closer to 12 if they hadn't lost that game against Miami.
Yeah, we got a couple games. We have a 1 o'clock game, a 2:30 game, a 2 5 o'clocks in the night card, 2 7 o'clock game, time frames, 1 8 o'clock, and then the 10 o'clock game out west. That's the Miami Heat and the Golden State Warriors. Let's get back to the NFL and tell you exactly what happened this weekend and what really did happen with the referees this weekend.
The immediate word on the street in Philadelphia and outside is that the best guy for the job would be Brian Dable. It's like all you have to do is spend an hour of your life with me and Tyrone every day, and you're going to learn so much and be prepared for future conversations. Because I told you this back in November.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid. It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on SportsGrid.
The Denver Broncos and the Buffalo Bills, what a game it was here to get to the AFC Championship game. The Denver Broncos pulled this one out in overtime, 33-30. Maybe it's not Josh Allen's fault altogether. Left the field with the lead. The defense couldn't hold up in the fourth quarter, and you went to overtime. Some crazy interceptions, which I don't know the rule of thumb, and I'll start here. And sometimes a little bit of sour grapes. Like I had Brandon Cooks over 26.5 receiving yards. You saw that crazy interception at the end. He caught another ball on the sideline where his arm hit out of bounds before the knee did. But Joe, help me out with this. we're led to believe that we have still frames, slow motion across, where you had a pass go downfield. That was a catch, went to the ground, and the ball stolen from you after your knee was on the ground. We'll start here. Did you have an issue with that play being called an interception, or nope, bang, bang play could have went either way at that time?
Surviving the ground is one of the stupidest phrases I have ever heard in my entire life, because what in the world does that mean? Because it wasn't the ground that dislodged the ball. He survived the ground. He just didn't survive after he hit the ground, the guy ripping the ball out, which is basically what they're saying here. So for everywhere that I looked at it, even live, it looked like he had it. He had it, secured it, hit the ground, still had it, and then it was dislodged into the defender. And it's mind-blowing to me. But the fact that they only spent 20 seconds being like, yeah, no, it's all right, you're good to go. Yeah, no, it's definitely an interception. Like, wait, what? Like, can we spend any time making sure we get this call right? Apparently not.
One of the biggest plays of the season as it came down to it. And also the still shots are incredible. Like, I know we play the game in real time, but it's basically him laying on the ground with the football. The defender then contacts him on the ground, and surviving the ground shouldn't come up in that instance, because the single fact of the matter is, if there was no player there, he would have caught the football and been laying on the ground. He didn't hit the ground. The ball got jarred loose. He hit the ground, and then the player stole the football from him, but away they went. Bo Nix in this game, 26 of 46, 279, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception here. Josh Allen, 283, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions was that crazy one on the deep ball to Cooks. Also, the Buffalo Bills, $183 on the ground, and they still lost this game. The Buffalo Bills defense, Joe, just not good enough in this environment here. A crazy comeback that had them take the lead. They weren't able to hold on, man. What a game it was. And also, at the end of it, Joe, go to the post-game press conference. Bo Nix out for the rest of the season with an ankle injury. Insanity.
Total insanity. And you felt that too. I mean, Josh Allen, you felt terrible for him. You felt, it was, and not for nothing, Donnie. I mean, that interception call was one thing, but how you're throwing not one, but 2 pass interference calls in overtime after that is absolutely beyond me. When you didn't throw one earlier in the game, which was clearly a pass interference. And I'm okay with not throwing the flag, but you can't then throw the flags in overtime. It's absurd.
The play you're talking about is late in that fourth quarter. You saw Brandon Cooks run into the end zone and clearly get held up. And Joe is right. I watched it. Ooh, that could have been called like that. You can't end the game on a situation like that. Then they basically ended the game on situations like that on the opposite side. It's unbelievable. Now, Josh Allen, you knew it had to be all him to win this game. They put up 30 points on offense, and they lost. Josh Allen was emotional here at the press conference.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. I feel like I let my teammates down tonight.
Your emotion, you normally aren't this emotional for us. Is what has brought this on? It's just
just missed opportunities throughout the game. It's been a long season. I hate how it ended, and it's going to stick with me for a long time. Can't win with 5 turnovers. I fumbled twice, threw 2 picks. When you shoot yourself in the foot like that, you don't deserve to win football games.
Tough scene out there. I mean, he's wearing it on his sleeve right there. They almost won the game with all those turnovers, Joe. Talk to me. By the way, this weekend's turnovers, I put out a tweet. It felt like they were freshman football games out there in the biggest moments.
Donnie, you couldn't have said it better, man. It was disgusting. The fact that these are the best teams the NFL has to offer here. Yeah. Guys that are throwing interceptions and fumbling the ball. And don't give me the elements and what was the element in Denver? I mean, you've got hold on to the ball. It is that simple. Unbelievable to me, Donnie, how ridiculous. I've seen varsity games better than what we got this weekend.
Like, again, 283 in the air, 3 touchdown passes. Your top running back had $117 on the ground. You yourself had 66 yards on the ground, and you lost the game. Let's go to the fallout. What's going to happen next? Bo Nix out? I'll tell you in just a moment.
the immediate word on the street in Philadelphia and outside is that the best guy for the job would be Brian Dable. It's like all you have to do is spend an hour of your life with me and Tyrone every day, and you're going to learn so much and be prepared for future conversations. Because I told you this back in November.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I'll tell you what, guys. The insider scam is like the best insider scam in the business of, like, in the history of television. They don't know anything until their phone gets the text message in which the deal is done, right? We saw this with Quinn Hughes. We were told, oh, he wants to play with his brothers. He wants to play with his brothers. Now they're saying that he wanted to be traded to Detroit. In other words, just say you don't know.
In-game live only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid. It all comes down to this.
We got you covered right up till kickoff.
The Miami Hurricanes, a 10 seed built on pressure. The Indiana Hoosiers, undefeated and dominant. Spread, total, player props, insights across the full betting board. National championship coverage.
And I'll be ready. I'll be ready.
I'll be double checking the list twice.
Only on SportsGrid.
The finish on the field for the Denver Broncos was probably a little bit anticlimactic because you had pass interferences in a short field goal attempt, and you had guys throwing their helmets, getting 15-yard penalties, but the Denver Broncos did win. But the real fireworks came after the game when Sean Payton took to the post-game press conference. By the way, my quarterback is now out for the rest of the season with a broken bone in his ankle. And here's the post-game presser here with Payton talking about Bo.
I love you guys so much. I wanted to come back. Not good news. On the second to last play in overtime, Bo fractured a bone in his right ankle. He's scheduled to have surgery Tuesday of this week, which will put him out for the rest of the season. Steady's ready to go. And it was the second to last play before he threw the pass to Mims. Birmingham is where he'll have the surgery with Dr. Waltrip, and I don't really think there's any other questions. In other words, this is what it is, and we felt like it'd be best to just tell everyone now.
No, that is shocking news to get, but I think more shocking is like, by the way, he's going to have surgery on Tuesday morning in Birmingham. We have the doctor ready to go here. That's moving quick, Joe.
Well, and I don't know that he had a choice. I mean, because some people would say that, what, you could have held on to that for days, but why? Like, why hide from it? The sooner Jarrett Stidham and the team realize that he's going to be why hide it at that point? To me, get out in front of it so everybody knows exactly what's going on and what's expected of them, and that's it. I didn't see any need to hold off or maybe withhold that. No, absolutely not. Get out there and let Stidham know it's his team now, and he's got to go out and win another game.
Like, when did you have more shocking news than that, like in a post-game press conference where you're going to host the AFC Championship game with a chance to go to the Super Bowl and absolutely knock the wind out of your entire fan base? And you saw Sean Payton Like, he's usually surly, fired up, ready to go, ready to tell you, what do you mean? Next week's AFC title game? Well, I expect to be in the Super Bowl. He was defeated there because he knows how big of an injury that was. Bo Nix was playing phenomenal football. That's your starting quarterback. You won a football game, and then they come back in the locker room and be like, hey, coach, my ankle doesn't feel so good. Let's get you a quick x-ray. Oh, no, broken ankle. You're out for the rest of the season. I don't remember an injury that devastating where you found out by surprise. Typically, Joe, we see it in real time. George Kittle goes down the middle of the game. Yeah, it looks like an Achilles. Oh, no, he's probably going to be done. Nobody saw this coming from Bo Nix at all until Sean Payton got up to the microphone and basically surprised everybody.
And then when you rewound the tape to find out exactly the play that it was, you realize that it was a designed quarterback run that they called. One of only, I believe, the only one of just a handful that they were called in that game. But in overtime, that was what you called. So okay. There you go. So not a great situation anywhere around here for Denver.
No, it's not. Jarrett Stidham will be the starting quarterback next week in the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. Joe, 8 touchdown passes, 8 interceptions in his career. It's not like you're falling back to a guy that's been there, done that.
Yeah, well, he certainly hadn't been, but he has been there in Denver with Sean Payton, who purposely kept him there as the backup. So listen, this is where coaching matters, right? It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a backup. You basically need to get him past one game. Like, if you can win this, you get to the big show, anything is possible. And hey, listen, does it mean we get a renewed effort? Because I don't know what the hell that defense was doing in that game either, but maybe this is a wake-up call here. And hopefully Stidham doesn't lose him the game. Just, don't do anything to put him behind the 8 ball here. Just give him an opportunity to win the game. And I think that's all Peyton's going to do.
And by the way, we flip it over to the NFC, which was that divisional round game between the Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers, the nightcap on Saturday night. And boy, it was a blowout. And my Eagles were a bad football team this year. But coming into the playoffs, you put all AFC teams and all NFC teams together. I thought it was the dream scenario that the Eagles got the 49ers because they were by far the worst team in the playoffs here. And the bottom just fell out. You can't play games where you have a good quarterback, a really good running back, and absolutely nothing else anywhere on the field. It catches up to you. 41-6. That game could have been 61-6 if Seattle wanted that here. The opening kickoff, Joe, goes back to the house. We don't even know if Sam Darnold could throw a pass before that game. He didn't even need to throw a pass. He could have handed off the entire night. They still would have won by 4 touchdowns here. Seattle absolutely smashes the San Francisco 49ers.
And again, the 49ers did exactly what you can't do in that spot. We all know that you were undermanned to begin with, but the reality is when you allow the opening kickoff to go 100 yards for a touchdown, and then your very next possession, you fumble the ball and give it back to Seattle in your territory, the game was over, Donnie, at that point. Like, it's just sloppy football. Special teams is still a part of football, and I've seen some of the worst special teams gaffes here in the postseason where these are not very well either coached areas or the players are just, I don't know, Donnie, I can't, this is not what you would have expected from the remaining teams in the NFL at this point in the season.
Like, they put up 41 points, Seattle Seahawks. Like, Sam Darnold threw the ball 17 times for 124 yards. Kenneth Walker was very good in that game. 19 carries, buck 16, 3 touchdowns. Charbonnet got banged up a little bit, only 5 carries for 20 yards. But the receiving game, old school Cooper Kupp, 5 for 60. You didn't need anybody else. Jackson Smith and Jigba did score a touchdown, Joe. His prop was in the 90s. He ended up with 19 yards receiving. And by the way, Rashid Shaheed looks like he's the fastest player on the field at all times. Why can't we get this guy the football in the passing game for Seattle? Maybe you can game plan a couple plays that he runs deep in the NFC Championship game, but this game was a whitewashing all the way through, Joe. The end of the first quarter was 17-0. Go to bed. It's final. Over. Nobody's coming back. San Francisco looks the next year. And by the way, I do credit San Francisco. With the amount of talent they lost to make it to the second round of the playoffs was incredible. But as I said again, the easiest schedule you're ever going to find during the regular season and a layup against the bum Philadelphia Eagles, you met your match in Seattle. Seattle moves on. So let me ask you this question. Do we feel better, Joe, about Seattle moving forward after smashing the 49ers? Or at the same time, is it, well, they were supposed to, the Niners stunk, and we'll see now. It was supposed to be the Rams and the Seahawks entering into the playoffs. It's now the Rams and the Seahawks.
Well, they were the biggest favorite of the weekend, right? So if they would have lost that game, I don't know. We all would have been going, oh, the Sam Darnold effect. But the reality was they were the better team. They were the healthier team. And it's not like those two teams didn't know each other, right? So Seattle did what Seattle was supposed to do as a 7-point favorite in a divisional matchup there, is to, win the game and win it convincingly at home, which is exactly what they did.
How about this? And to rub a little salt. By the way, it always comes back to the Jets, doesn't it? Here with you, you can't escape it, Joe. Every time we come up, it's like, okay, how can this game actually transpose into something the Jets did? Well, how about in the last 15 years? More Jets quarterbacks have started in the playoffs for the Seahawks than the New York Jets. I mean, Joe, come on, Jets. Get out of your own way. What are we doing here? But it always goes back to the Jets.
No, I don't like the Jets. Nobody does. And it's very hard to like them when they do things like this. And then the reports coming out that Saleh was the one who wanted to keep Sam Darnold, but Joe Douglas and everyone else didn't want him. So, it gets just better and better and better as we go along. So, good stuff, though. But kudos to Sam Darnold and Seattle, who, again, doesn't have to do a lot of traveling with that number 1 seed. They can now just wait for the Rams to fly cross country again, now to have to fly up to Seattle to play them next weekend.
By the way, Seattle Seahawks, really good franchise at this point. They let go Pete Carroll. They say, okay, Geno Smith, you're not good enough. Retool a quarterback, get Sam Darnold, have your head coach Mike McDonald. And here they are as the favorites here in the NFC Championship game to move on to the Super Bowl. That shows the signs, Joe. Good ownership, but more importantly here, a great general manager with a vision.
Listen, if Sam Darnold runs the table here and wins the Super Bowl, they're going to have some questions to answer in Minnesota, too.
Yeah, how about some questions down in Vegas? Like, hey, Geno Smith was supposed to be the better quarterback. No, he's not, people. And by the way, up next, we got Tom Vecchio joining us here. Let's see what happened over the weekend through his eyes, and also, where does that lead us in the AFC and NFC Championship game?
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? Like, I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Tomorrow's a Tuesday. We should call it Turnover Tuesday because of how many turnovers we actually saw over the weekend in high-level football, what we thought in the divisional round. 2 games Saturday, 2 games Sunday. Now we only have 2 games left next Sunday before 1 game left, which would be the Super Bowl. Donnie right side, Joe Raniero. Let's bring in Tom Vecchio. It wasn't even a wild card weekend, but it was a divisional round weekend that saw a lot of scoring, a lot of crazy opportunities, a ton of turnovers, and some questionable calls from the refs, Tommy.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything. Good calls, missed calls, good games, bad games, lack of scoring. Really comes down to, you just got to show up when it matters most. It doesn't matter if you're starting off the wild card, you have home field advantage, you have a great quarterback, you have no quarterback at this point for some teams, but I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, what's crazy, Tom? You take a look at this Seattle game, right? 41-6. I had a tough time looking at that game to myself and say, how am I going to take a lot of props for Seattle? Because I just don't understand what I'm getting out of the quarterback. So now you say to yourself, Bills-Broncos ends 33-30. Bo Nix moving on, going to take on Drake May. And a post-game press conference that Joe and I were just looking at, where you have the coach, Sean Payton, come to the podium like, hey, guys, just want to let you know right away, broken ankle for Bo Nix, he's out. How do we make of the Broncos moving forward if there's value, or have you actually taken a look next week and saying, how can I play the Broncos in certain situations?
Immediately, my mind goes to the game staying under, right? If the Broncos win that game, the game has to stay under. I think the Pats can win if the game goes over. The Pats can win if the game goes under, but the Broncos can't win if the game goes over. They have to keep this game close to the vest, and it's really just going to come down to their defense. It's going to come down to the running game, and it's going to come down to not having Jared Stidham in obvious passing situations where they want to keep it within one score, and they have to keep it close to the vest because needing him to drop back 35 times is not what they want.
Yeah.
No, they don't. But again, it's got Denver has won all year, right, Tom? With the fact of they've got to play defense, they got to run the ball, they got to get turned. That defense they looked gassed against Buffalo, which is crazy given the fact that they were the home team. But I think the formula for the Broncos remains the same, right? Like, you got to play shutdown defense. You got a very young quarterback on the other side. So you've got to give you the opportunity for Stidham in the offense to be able to get some short fields, and you got to hold up, right? I don't know that it's that over the top, right?
No, it's not. And really, I think the Denver defense, I think them giving up points last week was almost just a product of the game environment rather than them taking a massive step back and them regressing to some middle-of-the-road defense, which I don't think they are. So, yeah, I think the defense needs to be opportunistic. I will say, what we saw from Drake May and the offensive line, specifically from the Pats over the past 2 weeks of him taking multiple sacks, multiple fumbles against both the Chargers and the Texans, that bodes well for the Denver defense. Like, if they can get after him and cause him to make those mistakes and those turnovers, it will give them short fields and it will put Denver in a good spot.
Yeah, what a wild game it was, too. The New England Patriots, Houston Texans, that final 28-16, a cover by the New England Patriots here. You take a look at that game sneaking over the total. C.J. Stroud threw 47 times in that game, and I swear for most of the first half, Tom, he was trying to throw interceptions on purpose, like he just didn't feel like being there and get me off of the field. You talk about Houston. They ran the ball 22 times for only 48 yards. Woody Marks, 14 carries, 17 yards, completely inefficient in that game. Fumbles all over the place. I wasn't impressed with New England, but they did win that football game. That's what counts. And now it seems like we don't have to worry about a quarterback. You talk about the schedule in the regular season for the Patriots. Wasn't that tough? Now an AFC Championship game, you're getting a true young, well, not really young, but a backup quarterback without a lot of seasoning.
Yeah, and it comes down to, how Denver moves the ball on offense and what their game plan is. And I think we'll get some indication throughout the week from Sean Payton about what they expect to do or what they want to do. My mind immediately goes to saying, man, what if they had J.K. Dobbins? If he was healthy, what would this offense look like? They would actually, I think, have a better shot at taking down the Pats, knowing that they can lean on both Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. I expect this to be a big R.J. Harvey week. I expect it has to be a little bit of Cortland Sutton. It has to be some Evan Ingram. It has to be everyone just doing a little bit in order to help out Stidham, and it can't just be relying on one or two players.
A lot of frequent flyer miles for the Rams this postseason here, Tom. And now they got to travel again to Seattle. And what do we do now? It looks like it's locked into 3. We talked right after the game. We saw 1.5s, maybe 2.5s, but it looks like a field goal favorite is what the Seahawks will be. Never high total, though, interestingly enough.
Yeah, 2.5. I think that feels right. There's so much to say about home field advantage in the NFL, which is certainly lessened as the years have gone on. But Seattle's certainly one of those places that still does have decent home field advantage. The Seahawks put up one of the best defensive seasons, at least according to DVOA numbers, really in the past 30, 40 years. They are one of the top 12 when you look at those numbers. I still don't trust Sam Darnold. I just don't know how else to put it, but I just don't trust Sam Darnold. Stafford is the better quarterback. We all know that. I think the coaching is relatively close, maybe in the favor of McVay. I think the total is a little bit high. I will say I'm waiting to play it. I want to see if it moves to 48, but I would certainly play under at that point. And, the Rams, they were the better team compared to Chicago by far. If you look at any of the offensive metrics for the Rams combined with the defensive numbers from the Bears were terrible on defense. They gave up 1 billion yards, and then they somehow caused turnovers and didn't allow teams to score throughout the season. That wasn't sustainable, and that came crashing down last week. That really can't be said about Seattle. We know how good their defense is. I like the Rams, and I think getting them at +3 if you're willing to wait would be a good spot.
Here's the tough part, too, because early in the week, I do lean more towards Seattle if that game is going to stay, let's just say 2.5, because just in the NFL, you hear the regular season, we can't really give these teams 3 straight road games because it's ridiculous. And also, This isn't 3 straight road games. You can play the Giants, you're going to play Washington, then play the Buffalo Bills. You went to Carolina, snuck out of there with a win, flew back to L.A., flew to Chicago, and also product of the environment. A freezing cold temperature game, overtime game on the road, high leverage situation. You win, you celebrate, you fly back home. Seattle just had a cupcake game in their previous game, obviously going up against the 49ers. I think that does weigh into it, but you're not wrong, Tom. If you're just looking at quarterbacks in a big moment that you trust more, when you watch the game play out and win or lose, you're going to say to yourself, boy, I'm shocked that Matthew Stafford played that bad if they lost that game. You know what you wouldn't be shocked at, Tom? Man, Darnold looks like he's terrible in this game. What happened?
Right. I mean, he had, 3-4 interceptions in the game they played in week 13, 14. And Seattle almost won that game. So if they can remedy some of those things, Seattle will be in it. But I still think the offensive upside lies with the Rams. Outside of JSN, I'm still not convinced on the Seattle offense.
Big weekend coming up. AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game. We'll certainly be talking there with Tom. Thanks for rising and grinding with us on an Armchair Quarterback Monday. We'll be back after this short break.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? What team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Aaron Rodgers' season and maybe career comes to an end. But I want to start by saying this. We always go to the losing team, it feels like, first sometimes. And I know we're going to spend a lot of time on Pittsburgh. But I think Houston's live, right, man? I mean, if they're going to play that kind of defense next week, they're going to beat New England too.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Awesome offensively, and in reality, they weren't awesome offensively. In the first half, they just had the Kwan Lacey broken play. I hate to say this because I do not want to take away credit from everybody who went on the run that they went on. But I think it's fair, maybe you won't, to wonder if that result is different if Lane Kiffin sticks around and everybody else with this Ole Miss.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Put a quick cap on those games from yesterday and an ugly performance here for the New England Patriots in a double-digit victory. You'll take it any way you can get, and then finding out that Bo Nix is done for the season, so you're going to go up against a backup quarterback. Maybe the perfect scenario for the New England Patriots. C.J. Stroud, you cannot come into big games, and maybe you say, well, dome team going outdoors. Look, the Rams handled some of the worst conditions you can have from a dome team and picked up a victory in Chicago. You didn't get that from the Texans. Can you imagine, Joe, if the Texans just protected the football yesterday with that defense, they probably win. But they didn't. They looked terrible on offense.
No, and for the first time, Donnie, they left that defense out there to dry.
It did.
And that's exactly what happened, is that, the defense was out on that field far too long, far too many times in short fields. They were asked to do the impossible, and give them credit because they did. They had a chance almost to pull it off. And every time you thought New England was going to run away, that defense had to come up with a play, and a lot of times they did. But, that wasn't as much as Houston losing at that defense as it was the offense and the receivers, Butte and Diggs. The catches at the moments that those guys, the throws Drake May made, that's what won the game for New England. Forget about the turnovers for Stroud, because not a lot of those led to points for New England anyway, those turnovers, but it was those throws at the big moments and the catches that set them apart from what the Houston Texans are.
Joe's right. You see the touchdown in the box score, but you don't understand how tough those catches were. Diggs hanging on the end zone, and then Keyshawn Boutte just reaching the arm out there, stabbing it, and still staying inbounds and not losing the football. And he survives the ground for a touchdown. They pick up the victory. They're going to move on to take on the AFC Championship game in Denver here. But game number 2, 20-17, those Rams, Joe. And sometimes you get flashbacks on what could have been. The people out there holding those 3.5 tickets, which were there all week long, you look like you were in pretty good shape. The same way, backers, like the Green Bay Packers backers, the previous, you were like, you know what? We got this in our hands too. An unbelievable hut hike. Oh my goodness. All 3 defensive linemen whipped their offensive linemen. I need to sprint back 20 more yards, then turn around on a dime and throw a 50-yard pass to the back of the end zone that lands softly in the end zone for a touchdown. It was outrageous, but yet the Rams still overcame in overtime and won it. But Caleb, you can't kill the Bears, man. It just doesn't seem like it.
No. And listen, I mean, the Rams are now 2-0 on the road in the playoffs as a 12-win team, which is hysterical. That they even had to play both games. Now they're going to have to play a third game on the road. But can we go away from the whole dome team, warm weather dome team playing outdoors on the stop. They've already proven now that they can go out and they can do that. People forget Stafford spent, the first 2/3 of his career in Detroit. He wasn't always playing in the dome in Detroit. He had to go out in the elements to play the Bears and others. So, it's a little old. It's a little stale, that take. The reality is the Rams can go on the road and beat anybody here at this point.
Yep, Stafford, by the way, 258 in the air, stayed under his passing prop total. No touchdown passes when he's always priced at 2.5 or over, and yet they still won that football game, winning in different ways. That's what the Rams have done. They're going to have to win maybe in another way in Seattle. But here's Matthew Stafford. We were worried about what we were getting out of his hand/finger as he was injured. Here's him talking about that performance.
I know you said your finger was fine and everything. Conditions were kind of crazy. But did you ever feel like you had a good feel?
No, I definitely, didn't get into a great rhythm today. There's no question about that. Had some opportunities in the pass game. Just some things that made it tough. Obviously, I can be better. But playoff football is about winning the football game. Played great through for a bunch of yards last year in the snow, and we lost. So it sucks. So I'm happy to have played a little bit worse today and going home with a win. So we'll take that.
There you go. Stafford comes away with that victory here, talking about that finger. Didn't bother him too much. Seems to be in good spirits, Joe.
Well, then you just sucked. I don't know what to tell you, dude. You threw the ball 40 times. And for what reason, I have no idea that they kept dropping you back when you couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. They should have just been running the entire game is beyond me. But, he's right, though. Kudos, right? Style points don't matter. Winning the game is what matters. And the Rams won it, and despite of him being absolutely horrific throwing the ball last night.
By the way, throw up this here. This Yahoo Sports tweet that they put out, which is painful for me because I had Brandon Cooks over 26.5 receiving yards. Like, this is why people get upset with the NFL, because we don't have defined rules here. Devontae Adams down, got the football stolen away, doesn't matter. Brandon Cooks catches the ball, knee down, gets it stolen away from him. It's an interception. Make it make sense, people. It doesn't make sense. That's why we can't make any sense of it here. But you know we can make sense of? Hour number 2 coming up. College football championship and much more. We'll be right back.